Chauvinist gaslighting is when the official professionals practice medical fraud and dismiss, downplay, or outright deny genocides and genocidal acts, as well as the victims' valid concerns and hide such scientific facts. These insidious practices can have devastating consequences, leaving the facts invalidated, unheard, and the victims questioning their own reality. Too often, women, people of color, and other marginalized groups and individuals disproportionately experience medical gaslighting. Greeks and various groups who were gradually marginalized and subjected to genocides in Turkey were no exception to this. Read the article, Practical Chauvinist Gaslighting in Turkey, the Great Genocide. To those poor March hares who rejoice over the apparently worsened condition of medicine, as Prometheus replied to Hermes, the servant of deities. Tissis latrias tin emin dyspraxion, Saphos epistas uk an alaxan ego. Creson garime tide latreven petra I patri fine zini iston agelo. Beware of this, I would not alter my state of evil failure for your servitude. Better to be the servant of this rock than to be a faithful believer of Father Zeus. Quote, Sigmund Freud, The Future of Illusion, 1927. If I'm not mistaken, one knows so little about other civilizations. There are even today peoples which do not grow up under the pressure of a religious system, and yet they approach no nearer to your ideal than the rest. If you want to expel religion from the European civilization, you can only do it by means of other systems or doctrines. Such a system would not from the outset take overall psychological characteristics of religion, the same sanctity, rigidity, and intolerance, the same prohibition of thought, the same sanctity, rigidity, and intolerance, the same prohibition of thought, same sanctity, rigidity, and intolerance, the same prohibition of thought for its own defense. All the psychological characteristics of religion, the same prohibition of thought, sanctity, the same intolerance, the same prohibition of thought, rigidity, for its own defense. The atheist stigma. In a 2016 report by the International Humanist and Ethical Union, it was revealed that atheists and the non-religious are targeted for persecution in various nations. The most severe cases involving death penalty. In America, atheists are frequently rated as less trustworthy and morally capable than religious individuals. This stigmatization contributes to a toxic climate of prejudice and misconception about what atheism truly represents. For centuries, individuals have been subject to various forms of societal scrutinization based on their religious beliefs or lack thereof. Throughout history, marginalized groups have faced persecution and judgments. One such group was atheists, who had endured significant stigma, prejudice, and even physical violence purely based on their beliefs or lack thereof. In particular, the historical inquisition of atheists, often underreported and dismissed, is a key instance of such systemic injustice. According to scholars such as James Holt in his book 2000 Years of Disbelief, renowned thinkers who exhibited skepticism towards religion faced deaths, repressions, and were silenced throughout history. Atheist inquisition has become an escalating issue, indicating a dire need for open dialogue and understanding in our society. The right to have or not to have a religion is a basic human right. According to the American atheists in the United States face various forms of social stigma and discrimination due to their non-religious beliefs. 2021 report. In Turkey, Freedom of Thought report of 2021, atheism often leads to societal alienation and stigmatization. A recent report published by the Freedom of Thought ranks Turkey as having systemic discrimination against atheists. This situation creates an atmosphere where freedom of belief and expression are compromised, leading to personal and societal harm. It is essential to promote acceptance and respect of all beliefs, including non-belief, as enshrined in international human rights principles, like the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 18. This concerns the Turkish legal and societal structures to ensure atheists the same respect, rights, and opportunities as their fellow citizens with religious inclinations. Providing justification for exhausting the human rights of atheists would be to suggest that the inherent dignity and freedoms that should be afforded to all people, regardless of their religious or non-religious beliefs. To weaken the rights of atheists would be to deny the same protections and opportunities that are rightly extended to those of faith, eroding the very principles of equality and non-discrimination that form the bedrock of a just and social society. Such an act would represent a dangerous step towards institutionalized discrimination, where individuals are marginalized and persecuted simply for exercising their right to hold and express atheistic views. Ultimately, the idea of justifying such an affront to human rights is antithetical to the ideals of human rights themselves as well as secularity. It is to reject the universal applicability of these rights and to sanction the subjugation of a vulnerable minority based on their non-belief. Any attempt to do so must be met with the strongest possible condemnation, for to exhaust the rights of atheists is to deplete the rights of all. The path forward must be one of inclusion, tolerance, and the unwavering defense of the fundamental freedoms that should be the birthright of every human being, including the rights. All the atheist stigmatization stems from ignorance and leads to a general mistreatment of atheists, breeding anti-scientific notions about what it means to be an atheist. It is also seen globally as reported by the Humanist International in their Freedom of Thought reports, where they show atheists as humanists continue to suffer severe discrimination in many countries. This undeserved stigma and dogma not only infringe on civil rights but also deter healthy debates and discussions about faith, religion, non-belief, and atheism.